What is up, my sweet and spicy, sexy ass people? Today we are here for a tier list of Vox Machina characters. I just finished the third season of Vox Machina, and I wanted to do some more content with it, and also, I want to milk out as much as I can from that show, right? So we're doing a tier list of it. It looks like it's not just season 3 characters, but characters from across all 3 seasons, which is cool. It'll give me an opportunity to kind of like talk about some of the characters that we haven't really been able to discuss in either my review, which is coming out soon, or my reaction, which I believe the finale of my reaction should actually be coming out later this week, so keep an eye out for that. And this is Mighty Vibes Volume 2, which is Critical Role lo-fi music, so go check it out if y'all haven't yet. Fingers crossed it doesn't get copyrighted. Alright, let's go ahead and start. Do I like these tier lists? Yeah, we can do this. We're gonna actually change D, we're gonna change this to F. Because the differences between C and D are minuscule. In my mind anyway. So yeah, we'll go ahead and start here. So, starting off with our boy, the GOAT. The funniest character in the entire show. I think for that alone, we gotta give our boy Grog Strongjaw an S, right? Not only that, but in season 2, he had the whole arc where like he lost his muscles, and he had to like figure out where does his strength really came from. And even though his answer was a little cheesy, and he said, it comes from, my friends and people I love, it was enough to actually put him back in the fight against his uncle, who was somehow more yoked than he was at his prime. So, good shit, we love Grog. Next up, Keyleth. If y'all have been watching my Vox Machina reactions, I think the one that just went up this past Friday was actually episodes 9 and 10, and they were, man, before I had watched those episodes, Keyleth would have probably been A, maybe S, but after those episodes, bro, even though she kind of redeemed herself a little bit in the finale, I cannot in good conscience put her anywhere above B. Just the backwards ass logic, man, that she used. So yeah, talking back about Keyleth, man, she was gearing up to be like one of the best characters in Vox Machina, and some of the feats she accomplishes, especially in the finale, in terms of just sheer power, if this was a power scaling tier list, never will where she ain't all the way up top, bro. Never a world. But for right now, just for right now, I cannot put her above a B. Just the way they did her dirty, bro. This is not even, I want to say it's not the character's fault, obviously, right? It's like the writing of the show. And it's a shame that this one scene just affected me so much. But the fact that she just apologized to the dragon who had murdered her people and was like, so what are you up to? I'm not over it. I'm still not over it. I'm never going to be over it. I'm going to let y'all know right now. Till the day I die, I'm going to be upset about that shit. So, let it be known. Let's go ahead and move on. Percival Frederickstein von Musil Kowalski de Rollo III. There is never a world where Mans is not at the top of S tier. Mans is goated beyond belief, right? The whole Briarwood arc was centered around Percy, right? Percy is kind of like the driving through line for a lot of what Vox Machina does. And a lot of their just like intrinsic motivation is kind of tied directly to either actions Percival's taken, motivations Percival has like placed upon them, or just things that Percival has done that has then led the crew to doing something. Like, Percy is the reason the show moves so well, right? And to cap it all off, he's a genius inventor, which I love. He uses guns, which I love. Motherfucker is basically Batman, which I love. There is never a world where Percy is not an S. Alright? I've said it. It's done. Percy's the best character in the show. Let's move on. Pike Trickfoot. Pike is a tough one, man. Pike is, she's definitely either A or S. I'm gonna drop her an A for a moment while we talk about her. So Pike, I think in the first 2 seasons, she had a little bit less characterization, but she still had like a ton going for her. She was so absent, Ashley Johnson, the person who plays Pike in the campaign and in the show, she was so absent from the first campaign just by virtue of like filming across the continent on a different show. I forget what the name of the show is. It's not really important. The show's pretty good, but it's fine. But because she was so absent, her presence in the campaign wasn't really felt as much as much. It wasn't really felt as much as her absence was felt, right? Like that, you could always feel the absence of Pike, but it was by virtue of there being an absence of Pike, it was hard to feel like her presence there because there really wasn't one. So I'm really glad that in the show they've given her a lot more to do, right? Like she's the one who goes to talk to Kaylee, right, in season 3. In season 1, she does kind of leave the crew, but it follows what she's doing as she's left the crew, right? Like it kind of like ties into like her soul searching, trying to find the Everlight. And when she finds the Everlight, she astral projects herself and hard carries the team for a couple of episodes. Like she saves them from that horde of zombies that they were getting struck down by, bro. That was crazy. That was awesome. And in season 2, she almost dies because of Grog's like foolishness, right? And his love of Craven Edge. I didn't even talk about Craven Edge with Grog. Craven Edge was a magic talking sword that kind of entranced Grog into being more evil than he was supposed to be. The end. But Pike's the one who kind of like helped dispel that like hold Craven Edge had over Grog. And when Grog's lost like all of his muscle mass and was unable to walk for a little bit, she helped take him to her granddad. And her granddad kind of helped Grog not get buff again, but like get back up on his own 2 feet and like kind of have a little bit more agency, right? So Pike, I feel like if Percival is the motivation for the crew, Pike is the heart of the crew, right? Like Pike is kind of their guiding light of morality, I feel like. Similar to Keyleth, but Keyleth I think is a lot more stuck in her ways until the end of season 3, which again, that was phenomenal, but also it doesn't undo what happened in episode 9 and 10. But Pike is always just not like that good, virtuous person. And virtuous doesn't mean like holy, it doesn't mean pious, and it doesn't mean, oh, you must never curse and never go to brothels. Because Pike does. That's why Pike's dope. I love Pike. We'll put Pike in S tier. Pike is goated. Scanlan Shorthalt. Man, if we were talking about Scanlan from C1, easy S tier. Easy S tier. Probably my favorite character from Campaign 1 was Scanlan. Scanlan was phenomenal in Campaign 1. He was awesome. And he still is awesome here, don't get me wrong. But I think they really broke away from like the funny stuff Scanlan was doing, which is a big part of why I loved him in Campaign 1, and really focusing on like the emotional beats, right? The emotional beats are very good, but I also kind of feel like, and don't get me wrong, like this is very biased because I watched Campaign 1, but as a fan of that first campaign, when you come back to the show and you start watching it and you get like such a different flavor of Scanlan, still a bit of a womanizer, still a bit of a clown, but much more like emotional, right? And his whole story is much more emotionally grounded and is much more involved with his daughter, which is good. But I think taking away the whole spice shenanigans, while necessary for the show, did kind of affect the fun I had with the character, right? The whole meat man thing, which ties into the spice stuff. The fact that was never really introduced until like the very end when Gilmore like refers to him as the meat man for always having chicken in his mansion. Like it's little things like that I think took him down from what was an S tier campaign character to an A tier show hero. Still phenomenal, still great. His and Kaylee's story is so touching and so beautiful that it really did drive me to tears. But we also, it's not that I don't want to put everyone in Vox Machina in S tier, because part of me does. Even Keyleth I want to put up in S tier, but I think if we're trying to be objective about it, the fact that a lot of Scanlan's best moments come from his comedy, and a lot of that comedy was kind of taken away in the show, replaced with other bits of comedy, don't get me wrong, but not as funny, not as grandiose, not as insane, right? And I get it, right? For the pacing of the show, you can't really have a whole episode centered around Scanlan trying to get drugs. I get it, right? I'm not blaming you, Critical Role team. All I'm saying is that it does affect my outlook of some of these characters as a fan of the initial campaigns. That's all. So Scanlan's gonna rest in A. I like Scanlan in A. Scanlan's good in A. Do I want Pike above Grog? I think I might. No. Grog's arc in Season 2 was phenomenal. Pike's arc in Season 3 was good. Alright, Trinket! Hey! You know what we get from this bear? Nothing. You know where this bear's going? Nowhere. F tier. Easiest thing I've ever done in my life. Let's move on. Vax and Vex. Man, if this had been Season 1 and 2 Vax and Season 1 and 2 Vex that we were talking about, I would probably swap what I'm going to do with them. But I think after watching Season 3, I'm going to put Vax in A. Actually, I'm going to put Vax in S too. I'm going to put both of them in S. I'm actually going to put Vex'ahlia in second place. I got so much more than I was ever hoping I could get from Vex'ahlia's character in Season 3. I mean, it was just from the pain to like the trials and tribulations between like her and Percy, to the fact that Percy dies and she couldn't tell him I loved him, and just her whole arc in Season 3 is so beautiful, dude. It's so well written. It's so good. To her going fucking bounty hunter and getting Vax to go chase down Ripley. I mean, it's so well done, dude. It's so good. In Season 1 and Season 2, I'm not gonna lie, she maybe would have been like B tier, maybe A tier, but Season 3 pushed. We're talking about Season 3 so much because it's what pushed Vex'ahlia to up here, right? Now, on the other hand, if we were only talking about Season 3, Vax would be A tier, probably, because I do love Vax, and Liam O'Brien is probably my favorite of the voice actors in the show. I just love him dearly, and the fact that he creates such tragic characters is awesome. But I think if we consider everything that Season 1 and 2 had to offer with Vax as well, I think the reason I like Vax so much is because of all of these characters. The character that is maybe most true to the version that was in the campaign that we saw is Vax alone. And that, again, definitive bias there. I'm not even gonna front. Vax is... I love Vax, bro. He is so cool. He's so smooth. He's so slick. He's such a rogue. Such a stereotypical rogue. But I love that about him, bro. He's great. So big Vax moments includes when he confesses to Keyleth underneath the Sun Tree. Him getting mind controlled by the Briarwoods, who I'm very looking forward to talking about here. Him trying to sneak into the Briarwoods' room and then shouting Chenga when they catch him and he jumps out of a window. That was killer. What are some Season 2 moments? Oh, the whole matron thing. Oh my god, I forgot about the fucking matron episode. The episode where he gets the fucking armor for the matron, which is a vestige, is like one of my favorite episodes of the entire show. Probably of Season 2 easily, but like it's so good. So yeah, Vax is easy S tier. Vax is easy S tier. And then in Season 3, in the finale, he has a very good moment and a very sacrificial moment, which I really like, but we won't talk about that quite yet. Allura Vi Soren. Man, we got a lot more out of Allura than I was expecting us to. Because in the campaign, she was just an NPC, right? She wasn't really as fleshed out as she is here. I like her a lot. She's a bit of a prude. I like her a lot, though. We'll put her in A. We'll put her at the bottom of A. We'll put her under Scanlan. But she's cool. I like her. She's dope. This guy whose name I don't know, we'll put him in F tier next to Trinket. I like Trinket more than him because I remember his name. His name's not Percy. That's Percy. Who the fuck is this guy? He was Percy's best friend. That's the only thing I remember. Delilah Briarwood. Man, oh man. I'm gonna bring our boy Silas right next to her because you can't really talk about one without talking about the other. These two, as strange as it is, I think the defining characteristic that they portray more than anything else, more than their cruelty, more than their savagery, more than their devotion to just being evil, is their love of each other, right? Because Delilah was actually initially a part of the Cerberus Assembly, which is something we saw in Ripley's flashback, right? But then Silas came up, like got a disease or something, and then he died. And none of the Assembly were willing to help her, but then she hears like a mysterious voice kind of giving her instructions on what she's supposed to do. The Whispered One. I hope that's been dropped in the show, because if it hasn't, spoilers, but the Whispered One's the one who whispers to her, right? As a Whispered One should. And he kind of gives her instructions on how to bring Silas back. And in return, she dedicates her whole life to the Whispered One because he gave her back the one thing no one else could, which was her love. And it's such a good story. If there was just a series like tracking Delilah and Silas's adventures together, I would be full on board with that. I would love that. And also, she's voiced by Grey Delisle, is I think her name, the lady who voices Azula, which is phenomenal, and I love that. And then, of course, just the evil. These two together are so deliciously evil. But one of them is clearly better than the other. This might be a shock. Delilah is going in S tier, because Delilah is by far the more like sinister and passionate between the two. Silas, as much as I love the fact that he's voiced by Matt Mercer, is really just a bruiser, right? We don't see nearly as much from Silas as we do from Delilah, both in Campaign 1 and in the show proper, right? Don't get me wrong, he's a vampire. Awesome. He has Craven Edge. Awesome. He's a bloodthirsty, vicious monster who will tear asunder anybody who dares to look at him or his wife wrong. Awesome. Great villain, great character. Not as good as Delilah. We're going to throw him in A tier. I'm going to put him above Allura because I definitely like him more than Allura. Do I like Delilah more than... I don't think I like her more than Grog. I don't think I like her more than Vax either. So I'm gonna keep her where she's at. I'm gonna say she'll be gatekeeping S tier. This guy, the guy they thought was a dragon in episode 1 and turned out not to be a dragon. You know where he's going? F tier. Why? Because he sucks. Gilmore! I love Gilmore so much in the show proper. Or in the campaign proper. In the show, we get more with him. But I also kind of feel like we get less... The reason I like Gilmore is because he's so, like, flirty. And he's so, like, in your face. I love Gilmore a lot. And we do get bits of that in the show. But we don't get enough of him, right? And I think even if I was doing just a regular Campaign 1 tier list, you'd probably end up in B tier. Under Keyleth, if I'm being really honest, Keyleth should probably be here, but I'm so upset. I'm throwing her in B tier, right? Kima Aboard. Great character. Phenomenal character. We only got one episode with her, really. We got a couple of other scenes and stuff, but really only one episode with her and Allura. And that was the episode where I talked about themes of, like, trust, right? And Kima was like, Allura, you have to trust me. And that was a very good scene from Kima. But besides that, we didn't really get a ton with her. I'm going to throw her in B tier. I'm going to throw her right under Gilmore. She's great. This guy, I forget his name. He's the blue dragon. Brimsight, I think is his dragon's name. I don't remember the character's name, but Brimsight. C tier. He's a dragon. Cool. He's evil. Cool. That's about it. He's the first dragon Vox Machina kills as a group, right? But besides that, that's about all he gets. One of the Briarwoods' guys. We're throwing him in F tier. King Uriel. Man, oh man. If I had said I don't love this character because he's voiced by the same guy who voices Aqualad, I'm forgetting your name. I'm so sorry. He plays a goddamn guest. He plays Shikasta in Campaign 2, and I'm not remembering his name. Kyrie. I think his name is Kyrie Payton. I think that's his name. If I said I didn't love him in part because he was voiced by Kyrie Payton, I'd be lying. I'm not gonna lie. The voice acting for this guy is really fucking good. Kyrie Payton's a fucking genius. He's a master of his craft. We did not get a ton with him though, and he gets offed pretty quickly in Season 3. We'll throw him at the bottom of B tier. Maybe top of C tier? Do I like him more than fucking Brimscythe? I think I do. Yeah. Cassandra! Cassandra is cool. Her arc in Season 1 is that she's adopted by the Briarwoods and she's raised by them, and the rebellion in Whitestone is thinking that, like, you know, oh, we have an inside man, but the inside man's actually working for the Briarwoods. And then she betrays Percy, but then it turns out she was kind of mind controlled, and Percy breaks the mind control. It's cool. It's a neat arc. I could not in good conscience give her more than a B. We'll throw her here. Earthbreaker Groon. Oh, man. This is going to be complete bias. We've seen him like twice. There's never a world where he deserves to be above Gilmore. But goddamn do I love this man. Goddamn do I love this man. Something about a motherfucker who just wants to throw hands and will shout wisdom at you as he's throwing hands with you, bro, is great. His fight against Grog was spectacular. I love that. Voragal. The dragon we got the least from. Oh, but he did give us that. He did give us the awesome, like, wrestling match against that demon. So we'll throw him in C tier. That's about all I have to say. Kashaw. Easy A tier. I'm not going to lie to you. It is definitely in part because he's voiced by Will Friedle, who voices Terry McGinnis on Batman Beyond, which is my favorite interpretation of Batman, both Bruce Wayne and the Batman. I love that show. And that's definitely nostalgia talking. I love it because I was raised on it, but even still. So love Will Friedle already. And the way he voices Cash as just like laid back, nonchalant, just kind of asshole, but kind of an asshole with a heart of gold. And we see that heart of gold in season 2. Like, it's really well done. I really like him. RAISHAN. Man, I hate to be the guy to give a dragon their flowers. But man, oh